Hi, in this video I will comment on the Ahzab Surah starting from the verse 7. Recall that we took from the prophets their covenant, including you, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus of the son of Mary. We took from them a solemn pledge. Subsequently he will surely question the truthful about their truthfulness, and has prepared for the disbelievers a painful retribution. O you will believer, remember God's blessing upon you when soldiers attacked you. We sent upon them violent wind and invisible soldiers. God is seer of everything you do. When they came from above you and from beneath you, your eyes were terrified, your hearts ran out of patience, and you harbored unbenefiting thoughts about God. That is when the believers were truly tested. They were severely shaken up. The hypocrites and those with doubts in their hearts said, what God and His messenger promised us was more than an illusion. So they're not sure about it. A group of them said, O people of Yathrib, you cannot attain victory, go back. Others made up excuses to the prophet. Our homes are vulnerable, when they were not vulnerable, they just wanted to flee. Had the enemy invaded and asked them to join, they would have joined the enemy without hesitation. So they had pledged to God in the past they wouldn't turn around and flee. Making a pledge with God involves a great responsibility. Say, if you flee, you can never flee from death or from being killed. No matter what happens, you only live a short while longer. So, this is interesting that this surah starts with talking about the war, and it's like it also mentions important events related to spreading religion. Say, who would protect you from God? If He willed any adversity or willed any blessing for you, they can never find beside God any other Lord and Master. God is fully aware of the hinderers among you, and those who say to their comrades, let us all stay behind. Rarely do they mobilize for defense. So it's important to know that in the previous videos I have also emphasized the defense, and in Quran they don't attack to convince, and because we know that our message is for peace and not for aggressiveness. Also, there are two things when dealing with you. If anything threatens the community, you see their eyes rolling with fear as if death already come to them. Once the crisis is over, they whip you with sharp tongues. So, their tools sting with their wealth. These are not believers, and consequently God has nullified their works. This is easy for God to do. They thought that the parties might come back. In that case, they would wish that they were lost in the desert, asking about your news from afar. Had the parties attacked you while they were with you, they would rarely support you. The messenger of God has set up a good example for those among you who will seek God and the last day and constantly think about God. So, that is the reason that in this surah Prophet Muhammad mentioned. So, constantly think about God. So, this is and the grammar is slightly different. And when the truth believers saw the parties, they say, this is what God and His messengers have promised us, and God and His messenger are truthful. This only strengthened their faith and augmented their submission. Among the believers there are people who fulfill their pledge with God. Some of them died while others stand ready, never wavering. God will surely recompense the truthful for their truthfulness, and will punish the hypocrites. If He so wills or redeem them, God is forgiver, most merciful. God repulsed those who disbelieved with their rage, and they left empty-handed. God does spare the believers any fighting. God is almighty, powerful. He also brought down their allies among the people of the Scripture from their secure positions, and drove terror into their hearts. Some of them you killed, and some you took captive. He made you inherit their land, their homes, their moneyed lands, and you had never stepped on. God is in full control of all things. O Prophet, say to your wives, if you are seeking this life and its vanities, then let me compensate you and allow you go amicably. So here we see that, and also there is another message in the Quran. I'm not sure if it's in Ahzab Surah, but it says the Prophet's wives cannot marry after he is dead. But here it's important. They shouldn't. And it shows that it is actually not a must situation. They're not forcing Prophet's wife. It's just like a advice. Let's keep reading. But if you are seeking God and His messenger and abode of the hereafter, then God has prepared for the righteous among you a great recompense. O wives of the Prophet, if any of you commits a gross sin, the retribution will be doubled for her. This is easy for God to do. Any of you who obeys God and His messenger and leads a righteous life, we will grant her double the recompense, and we have prepared for her a generous provision. So remember the story of Musa is encountering a person, and a person is doing bad things, and then at the end it has a good consequences. Here, if the wives of the Prophet help a Prophet, then indeed they will have a better results. So that's why God increases the both retribution and the price. O wives of the Prophet, you are not the same as any other woman. If you observe righteousness, therefore you shall not speak too softly, lest those with disease in their hearts may get the wrong ideas. You shall speak only righteousness. You shall settle down in your homes and do not mingle with the people excessively, like you used to do in the old day of ignorance. You shall observe the contact prayers and give the obligatory charity and obey God and His messenger. God wishes to remove all unholiness from you. Oh, you will live around the sacred shrine and to purify you completely. So here maybe there is a chance that God didn't God specifically picked the prophet's life, because I think so here they have settled and they're not like migrated community. Maybe there's a chance that's the reason, but maybe not. So that's why that since they're settled, and these examples are related to this, because if they're settled and it is relatively safe, then these advices are specific to the Prophet Muhammad, and that explains it. But God knows it better. So why Prophet Muhammad's life was picked for these examples specifically mentioned in the Quran. So I'm not expert in history. In fact, I cannot talk much about it. Remember what is being recited in your homes of God's revelations and the wisdom of inherent therein. God is sublime cognizant. The submitting man, the submitting woman, the believing man, the believing woman, the obedient man, the obedient woman, the truthful man, the truthful woman, the steadfast man, the steadfast woman, the reverent man and the reverent woman, the charitable man and charitable woman, the fasting man, the fasting woman, the chaste man and the chaste woman, and the man who commemorate God frequently and the commemorating woman. God has prepared for them forgiveness and a great recompense. So, equality, this Rashid Khalif interprets as equality of man and woman. So here, because it's the social things are mentioned, then it fits, it's related to the topic. No believing man or believing woman, if God and His messenger issue any command, has any choice regarding that command. Anyone who disobeys God and His messenger has gone far astray. Recall that you said to one who blessed by God and blessed by you, keep your word and reverence God, and you hid inside yourself what God wished to proclaim. Thus you feared the people when you were supposed to fear only God. When Zayd was completed through his wife, we had you marry her in order to establish precedent that a man can marry the divorced wife of his adopted son. God's commands shall be done. So, here in the example that Zayd is not his real son, and there's no genetic relationship, so they can marry, and here that example. And in this example, we see that Prophet is actually not interested in this marriage and not that interested in. So he's afraid. But there's no rule, and so God says that there's no rule why you're afraid. And like, and this is his. So some say that he's actually not his son. He's just only in someone in his protection. The prophet is not committing an error by doing anything that is made lawful by God. Such is God's system since the early generations. God's command is a sacred duty. Those who deliver God's messages and who reverence Him alone shall never fear anyone but God. God is the most efficient reckoner. So it says that do not just, there's no rule here. Do not make up any rule and you feel maybe it is wrong, but it's just a feeling. It's actually completely okay. So that's the reason. Muhammad was not the father of any man among you. He was a messenger of God and the final prophet. God is fully aware of all things. So also, interestingly, in the same surah, we see that also Prophet's mom is mother for other believers. Maybe that's another reason why they shouldn't marry after he is dead. So, and in another video, I explain my thoughts on it. So you can check, you can try to find it in my previous videos too. O you who believe, you shall remember God frequently. You shall glorify Him day and night. He is the one who helps you together with His angels to lead you out of darkness into the light. He is most merciful towards the believers. Their greeting the day they met Him is peace, and He has prepared for them a generous recompense. O Prophet, we have sent you as a witness or bearer of the good news as well as a warner, inviting to God in accordance with His will and guiding beacon. Deliver good news to the believers that they have deserved from God a great blessing. Do not obey the disbelievers and the hypocrites disregard their results and put your trust in God. God suffices as an advocate. All you will believe, if you are married believing woman, then divorce them before having intercourse with them. They do not owe you any waiting interim. You shall compensate them equitably and let them go amicably. O Prophet, we made lawful for you your wives to whom you paid their due dowry or what you already have, as granted to you by God. Also lawful for you in marriage are the daughters of your father's brothers, the daughters of your father's sisters, and the daughters of your mother's brothers, the daughters of your mother's sisters who have emigrated with you. So it's interesting that the emigration was mentioned. So it maybe indicates that some of the marriages are for social purposes, and because there's no one else around, and then it's logical, and they're in need of help, and they cannot maybe they don't know anyone. So that may explain why God allows cousin marriage, and also yeah. Also, and that's my interpretation again. Also, if a believing woman gave herself to the Prophet by forfeiting the dowry, the Prophet may marry her without a dowry if he so wishes. However, her forfeiting of the dowry applies only to the Prophet and not to the other believers. We have already decreed their rights in regard to their spouses or what they already have. This is to spare you any embarrassment. God is forgiver, most merciful. You may gently shun any of them you may bring closer to you and any of them. If you reconcile with any of you had estranged, you commit no error. In this way they will be pleased, and will have no grief, and will be content with what you equitably offer all to them. God knows what is in your hearts. God is omniscient, clement. So, that's all I want to mention in this video, and thanks for watching this video, and hope to see you in the next video.